Hey guys, King of Charmanders here, and today we have the best basic guide for the Sword and Shield. Builds, tips, and tricks, and the reason why this is the best guide is because we cover everything. In order to be an advanced user of any weapon, you must learn the fundamentals, you must learn the basics, and this is a guide where I make sure I have everything in here for the basics so that you learn how to be a master at the Sword and Shield. Starting off with the pros. So, here are the pros and cons of being a Sword and Shield main, and we're going to start off with the pros. It's the first weapon everyone starts out with in the game. So, everyone, there's no choice. Your new friend that fires up the game, even if Elmo fire up the game, guess what? They have to use the Sword and Shield. But, the pros of that, it's very easy to learn and use. In fact, this is one of the weapons, I think it's the only weapon that actually has a tutorial in it in-game. So, it's very easy to learn and use. You have the ability to guard from attacks, so you can tap and hold to guard. If you have a sword, you also have a shield. What do you do with a shield? You guard. And you have the ability to guard and block attacks from other monsters, from large monsters and small monsters as well. It's the most mobile out of the rest of the melee weapons when it comes to dodging ability. So you are able to dodge between a lot of the attacks using the sword and shield in comparison to other melee weapons where there's a long pause or you are unable to dodge. So you are very mobile and you can dodge a lot using the sword and shield. A lot of opportunities. It has nearly every element in the game so far except for Dragon as well. So Sword and Shield holds every element of the game except for Dragon, making it very versatile. If you main it, you're going to have every element except for Dragon like I mentioned so far. It has a versatile equipment skill pool. So there's a lot of equipment skills like guard and offensive guard that apply to the Sword and Shield users. So there's a lot of equipment skills you can use to mix and match, particularly for the Sword and Shield. And just like there are pros of the Sword and Shield, there are also cons. And the cons are the guard ability cannot guard against strong attacks unless you invested in a guard equipment skill build. There's a equipment skill called guard, and you need to have guard invested into if you're going to block strong attacks. So unfortunately, yes, you cannot guard against every attack unless you have either high guard into it as well as a high defense on your armor. So a high total defense stat points on your armor. With this being said, guard may also cause you to get lazy and not practice perfect evades or master attack patterns. So yes, guard may have you like, oh, okay, you know what? Forget dodging this to proc a perfect evade, or just I can easily dodge this move. I'm just gonna guard. So that's what guarding may cost you. Guard also forces you to take damage. So it's not gonna protect you from all damage. So it can force you to take damage, and that's less time playing without using healing items. Sure, some skills like offensive guard require you to take damage, but you're still going to take damage, which means, oh, you might have to use healing items or wait until your HP restores. In addition, it is also less flashy than other weapons. In other words, it does not look cool. So in comparison to the other weapons, the Sword and Shield is very basic because it's the first one everyone starts out with, and you're not special for using it because guess what? Everyone has to use it at one point in their Monster Hunter Now gameplay or wherever they are in the game so far. So yes. That's the thing, it's not cool, doesn't look cool, there's not a lot of cool things you can do with the Sword and Shield, and it's super basic. Next, we move on to the Sword and Shield weapons. And first, we're going to start off with the non-elemental weapons. The Hunter Knife is the first one, which is a basic iron weapon, one you start off with first. The Carapace Edge, which is from Barath, and the Lumu Knife, which is from Palumu. Next up for the Sword and Shield weapons, we have the elemental weapons, and we have an armory of them. We have 3 poison sword and shields, starting off with the Blooming Knife, which is from Puke Puke, the Princess Rapier from Rathian, and the Queen Rose from Pink Rathian. Next up, we got Water from Jagras Edge, which is from the Great Jagras, and the Aqua Messer, which is from Gyratotus. We have 2 fire sword and shields, which are the Blazing Edge from Anjanath, and the Flame Knife from Rathalos. As for the remaining elemental weapons, we have Paralysis type, which is from the Gyros Knife, which is from the Great Gyros. And we have Ice Elemental from the Glacial Grace from Legiana. And last but not least, we got the Thunder Element, which is the Thunder Edge from Tobi Kadachi. Now we move on to the Sword and Shield attack guide. Tap to attack. This is pretty obvious, but you have to tap on your screen in order to attack and keep tapping. The Sword and Shield has a basic 8-hit combo. You start off with 5 slashes, which are going to be your weakest hits, which do the least amount of damage, and then you will do 3 shield bashes, which are your strongest hits. These 3 hits will do the most damage. Now here's a note, your shield bash combo can stun the large monster, although this is rare unless you've invested into the slugger equipment skill, as you'll usually get pretty close to killing the monster before you have a chance to stun it. Here's an example, sparks will fly, stunning the monster, but again, it's pretty rare. Note number 2, if you break the combo at any time, you have to restart the combo. So here's an example right here. I have to roll to dodge an attack, so I have to break my combo and I have to restart it over again. So if you break your combo at any time, you have to restart your combo. And last but not least, all attacks don't have to hit the monster to complete the combo. So you can miss some attacks if the monster moves. Here's an example right here. I missed my last 3 attacks, but I can still attack and complete the combo, as you see in the example. Next, we have guarding. So you tap and hold to guard. You know you did a successful guard when these hexagons appear in your screen. As you see here, hexagons appear, poof, there's a flash. Note number 1, if you guard against a monster attack, it will knock you backwards unless you have the guard equipment skill. That's going to be advanced guide because guard is really complicated, so yes, it will knock you back. And here's note number 2, guarding against small monsters is a waste of time. Just kill them to save your time. Seriously, just kill them, save your time, don't guard. In addition, you can do a guard back hop and into an air combo. So swipe down while guarding to do a back hop, and if you tap after the back hop, you will start an air combo. The air combo has 5 total attacks. You have 3 scaling slashes, which are the weakest hits, and 2 falling shield bashes, which are the strongest hits. Note number 1, you can tap and hold to charge an air combo to do more damage. So here's an example of doing air combo. Here's the example of where you tap, hold, and charge to do more damage doing an air combo. Note number 2, you can take damage and get knocked out of the air when you do an air combo, so you're not invincible unfortunately. If you get attacked while you're in midair, you will take damage, just like this example right here. And note number 3, the falling shield bash can also stun a large monster. So right here you see for this Kuyaku, I'm in air, I'm about to do 2 falling shield bashes and bam. The sparks fly, stunning the large monster. So yes, you can stun a large monster using the falling shield bash. And last but not least, note number 4, after getting knocked back in guard, you can jump straight into an air combo. So if you tap after getting knocked back in guard, like you see in the example, you will jump straight into an air combo. And now we move on to the Sword and Shield Perfect Evade. If you could dodge Wrench, you could dodge Ball. If you could dodge in Monster Hunter now, you can also dodge and proc something called a Perfect Evade. Now you have 2 types. They're a regular and guard back hop Perfect Evade. The regular Perfect Evade is like this example right here. You do the original regular Perfect Evade, you'll do this fancy little like repositioning thing. I don't even know what it's called. You like fly through the air. And then if you tap after a regular Perfect Evade, like you see this example, you can do a 4-hit combo. You will do 1 advancing slash and 3 shield bashes, which are your strongest hits. And of course, you can also stun the monster if you are hitting it with this combo. So it'll stun just like all the other ones. And there's a guard back hop Perfect Evade like this example right here. You can do a Perfect Evade while doing a back hop. You won't take any damage, and the air combo after a perfect back hop evade will be fully charged. Here it is again. After you hit the Perfect Evade and proc it, as you see, I will take 0 damage, and then the air combo after you do this will be fully charged. So it'll do full charge damage like you do from the example from before. Moving on, we have the Sword and Shield special skill, the Perfect Rush combo. At level 1 it does 100%, level 2 105, and at level 3 110%. Here's a note, you are invincible while performing your special skill, but you will still take passive damage from status effects like poison. So poison will still do damage to you passively. Here's a note, you can tap and hold the second slash for a short time, and it's only like a second after the first advancing slash. Here's an example, 1 slash, and I hold it for like a second, and then it will do the rest of the combo. Again, it's still really short, but you could be a little fancy if you know the timing of monster attacks, hold it for a second, and then attack. And for some odd reason, why does no one cover everything? If you're going to create a basic guide, cover everything. And I'm the only one covering aim mode, which is on and off. You can toggle aim mode by tapping on the tab at the top right of your screen. So you see tapping on the top right will allow you to toggle aim mode on and off. Now what happens is with aim off mode, it allows you to use lock on if you have it. So if you have lock on, you'll be able to lock on your monsters on monster parts if you have lock on. If you don't have it, you can't use it. It will center the monster in the middle and allows you to zoom in and out by pinching or widening the screen with 2 fingers. So you see an example, I'm pinching and widening my fingers. This will allow you to zoom in on the monster. Now with aim on mode, this allows you to reset your aim, and it lets you freely target certain areas of the monster by tilting your screen. Now this is only for advanced players only. Aim mode is very complex to use because you're going to have to tilt your screen in specific angles to target certain parts without using lock on. So this allows you to battle without lock on and have a build that doesn't have lock on. I'm going to cover this on the Advanced Sword and Shield guide, not the beginner's guide, because like I mentioned, it's for Advanced Sword and Shield players. Since I've been talking so much about the guard skill and the offensive guard skills, here's equipment skills for the Sword and Shield. You have lock on, which displays the lock on button while hunting with a close range weapon, allowing a specific body part to be targeted. And it caps out at level 1, so you can only have it at level 1. And then you have guard, which varies slightly to massively reduces damage and knockback against monster attacks. So depending on the level you have, it's very slightly to massively. And it's key for guard builds. In addition to that, you also have offensive guard, which increases attack power by 10% to 40% for 10 seconds after executing a well-timed guard. And here's a basic sword and shield build for beginners. You have the Kulu headpiece at grade 4 for lock-on and critical eye. It's okay if it's grade 2, that's fine, you just need it for lock-on. Leather mail grade 2 for attack boost. Kulu Vambrace is grade 4 for last stand and critical eye. The Kulu coil, grade 4, last stand and evade extender. And the Kulu grease, which give you critical eye. There are alternatives, and the alternatives are the Jagras mail for grade 2 for Rising Tide. This is pretty much the same build you're going to use unless you're going into elemental builds or if you're going into endgame. So this is a very basic build. There are other better equipments out there with lock-on, but again, that's for an advanced guide. This is a very basic build for beginners. And here are some tips and tricks for the sword and shield. The blooming knife from Puke Puke and the Gyros knife from the Great Gyros can actually carry you through the story to endgame. So they can carry you to 6 stars if you just build and use one of those weapons. This will save you Zenny and materials in the long run. Again, you can focus on one of those weapons and it can carry you to endgame, which is 6 stars. Practice perfect evades over trying to guard, because even if you're using guard specific builds, perfect evades will go into the shield bash finish and you don't take damage. I see a lot of guides out there promoting guard, and I think it's kind of dumb because you want to practice perfect evade. You don't want to force guard damage. Not only does it take time, you have to wait for the monster to attack you to proc guard, but actually doing perfect evades will get you to what guard does in general. It stops you from getting knocked back, and then you go into the shield bash finish. Guess what? Perfect evades do that as well, and perfect evades are how you become an advanced player. Not sitting there like a turtle and being like, oh, let me wait for this monster to attack me. With that being said, you might want to consider switching from sword and shield after endgame. The other melee weapons are more fun to use. They're more fun to use, they have more specific defenses, etc. And they really are more fun to use and definitely better than sword and shield if you get used to them. Hopefully this basic sword and shield guide helps you out as you learn the fundamentals of this weapon and as you become an advanced and master, as I cover a lot of things in here that other guides don't. Look out for my advanced sword and shield guide coming eventually because I have to build a few equipment pieces first. Yeah, I have to build a few offensive guard and guard skill pieces, so yeah. And please do me a huge favor, please like, subscribe, and comment for YouTube algorithm. This took a lot longer than I thought to make, so I like to cover everything, as you know, if you've been watching my content. So yes, it took a while. So with that being said, please like, subscribe, and comment for YouTube algorithm. Good luck on your grinds, and I will see y'all on the next one.